Hello everyone, this is the story of Dmitry Mendeleev and the creation of the periodic table of elements. Our story begins with Mendeleev, born in 1834 in the far west of Russia's Serbia. It is unknown exactly how many siblings Mendeleev had, but it is believed that he had at least 10 brothers and sisters. When Mendeleev was very young, his father became blind, forcing his mother to go to work in a glass factory. She was quite successful in this role and eventually climbed to the role of manager. However, after the factory burnt down, Mendeleev's family fell into poverty. Still determined to get Mendeleev an education, his mother sent him to school in Moscow, then to St. Petersburg. After only 10 days of being enrolled, his mother died of tuberculosis, the same disease that had claimed his father and another sibling. Mendeleev eventually found himself conducting research in Europe, but returned to Russia to teach at the Technical Institute in St. Petersburg in 1861. While teaching, he realized that many of the discoveries that had been made in chemistry had not yet made their way back to Russia. Mendeleev wrote his first textbook in organic chemistry and was considered the leading expert in the field at the time. However, he realized that many of his students had trouble understanding his teaching, which he theorized was due to the lack of a clear system organizing the known elements. Mendeleev could explain the individual elements and their properties, but had no way of relating them to each other. It wasn't until he began writing a textbook for inorganic chemistry that he began to categorize the elements. He started with what he called the typical elements: hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon. He then moved to the halogens and began grouping them based on their properties. At the time, atoms were only grouped by either their atomic weight or their common properties, like whether they were metals or gases. The story goes that Mendeleev was an avid solitaire player. One day, while thinking about how to organize the elements, he created a set of cards with all the known elements. He spent days rearranging these cards in different sequences and took them everywhere he went with them. Exhausted from obsessing over the cards, he fell asleep and had a dream. In the dream, he envisioned the elements perfectly arranged. When he awoke, he recreated the vision and called it the periodic table of elements. The first periodic table had ordered the elements in atomic mass. However, Mendeleev placed some out of order. Unknowingly, Mendeleev had placed the elements in order of atomic number, which is how the elements are organized today. Mendeleev continued with his table and even used the patterns he noticed to predict elements that must exist but had not yet been discovered. He left blank spaces in the table to fill in these elements. Eventually, these were discovered and were later called gallium, germanium, and scandium, which were not discovered in 1871.